he's been doing this for a long time, and he's just recently become, I'd say, like I said, like a bulldozer. He's paving the way for people to have this discussion now. And
Uh-huh.
when I first got interested in it, it was, I think, way before the Rogan days. I think it was before Rogan had a podcast.
Uh-huh.
And I had seen a talk. Literally, my first time thinking about this was seeing a talk of Graham Hancock's, and he's giving a lecture to maybe like 20 people, and
Uh-huh.
he's nervous, and he's hoping people will understand what he's trying to say. And what he was trying to say was that there's some fingerprints, in a sense, like there's evidence of this bigger global like educational movement. And he was saying, you've got sites in Egypt that look like sites in Bolivia, and you've got sites in Bolivia that look like sites in Central America, and you've got sites there that mimic sites in Cambodia, and it's just kind of like this big connective thing that anyone from the main line of history would not have been making the connections. And it was just as simple as like looking at the things that were there and saying, yeah, that it's kind of weird that all over the world everybody started building stuff out of stone and it was huge. And that if you've got big stone structures, like imagine what they could do with wood, imagine what they could do, like what sort of population center you need to do that. And so he was really influential, I think, in getting my eyes to open up. And then there's other researchers who contributed too, like the work of like Michael Cremo, Forbidden Archaeology, where I think Cremo, he's a one heck of a prolific writer. And he has, it's like looking at his work as sort of, it's interesting because with any of these guys, you just kind of know, like they don't have 25 undergrads validating everything they're writing, you know. But the things that they do find that are anomalous, they have to stand out. And one of the things that Cremo brought to the table was there were the Olmec civilization, and he was using data that was, he didn't have to go get it. He was using data that was already on the record, that was radiometrically dating the Olmecs in some anomalous dates back like to 10,000 BC, and he was under, so his whole assumption, Cremo's assumption, is that humans like us has been around for like 8 million years. I don't personally see the rest of that evidence, but that that idea got him to start looking, to, if we've been around for 8 million years, like what else can we find? It opened him up to, sort of claiming that some of these places are very old. Like I don't think Cremo would place the pyramids at 4,000 BC. I don't think he'd place him at 10. I think he's more like into the 40,000. Like he sees that humanity's been around for a while. I don't really share like the super long theory, but I do think we've been around for a very long time. And when you look at our story, it's like, well, did we? If we believe radiometric dating, which I tend to think it's strong, it's a strong a way to date, then humans in our modern form have been around for like 300,000 years, and that's just the oldest one we found. And it's not like we have a preponderance of skeletons. It's not like we have a preponderance of any of this stuff, but you have to imagine, like, what are the conditions that happen that would take a human today and preserve them for 300,000 years? That's not going to happen in cemeteries. That's not going to happen in tombs. They're going to be gone. Like, it's only going to happen in rigid cave structures and stuff that has to be like somewhat like if an animal said, hey, there's a human skeleton, it's probably gone. So there's not much, that you're going to find. We don't find millions of dog skeletons or anything yet. The population of dogs is in the hundreds of millions, and like so when you open the mind up, you got to kind of look at it and say, well, if we've been around for this long, what is different? Because we're kind of on the same line from 300,000 years ago. What's different from then until today? And what are the events that we went through that got us from those early days to today? And the book that we worked on, the Book of Enoch, like that's a moment of understanding where some of the linearity of our civilization would have been broken, because it kind of speaks to like an account coming before a great flood. It speaks to this Noahic flood. It's in that mythology. It's in that religion's mythology. Um, but there's a part in Enoch where it says, hey, there's going to be a flood, and then there's going to be about 10,000 years, and then things are going to change. So what that does is it says, well, if we're thinking in these longer terms, then of course we're not thinking the flood occurred on the Anno Mundi dates, on these like manufactured dates from scholars that they say, well, if you add up all the numbers in the Bible, it gets you to the 4,500 BC or something. It's like, no, now we've got to find 10,000 years before this to land where this flood could have taken place. And what's wild about that discovery is you go, what does Graham Hancock say? And what do Randall Carlson say? They say pretty strongly, there was this big global cataclysm at about 10,000 BC.
Mm-hmm.
And what's really interesting about this is that they're not just saying that. Like, that's backed up by climate data from the US government, from the European organizations. Globally, we accept that the climate at around 10,000 BC was a disaster. Like, it was the beginning of a warming trend that hasn't stopped. And we have paleoclimate models that would show you, the world was covered with ice down to like I don't Germany, yeah, where you are, yeah, probably ice. Where I am, probably not ice, but where I am, we would have had 50 more miles of coast. We would have had to,
Mm-hmm.
like, from, if you were on the beach today, 50 miles east would still be land.